This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Wednesday, July 1st, 2026 meeting of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners. I'll note for the record that we have 4 commissioners present in person this evening, and Commissioner Kelly will be joining us virtually. At this time, if you'd all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to note that all public sessions of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners are electronically recorded, filed, and posted to the Township website for public access. At this time, I'd like to ask our Township Manager, Tom Petrucci, to please review our public virtual meeting rules.
Thank you. The public virtual meeting rules are as follows. Courtesy of the floor for non-agenda items will be at the beginning and end of the agenda. Public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. For all listed agenda items, the board president will call for courtesy of the floor prior to the Board of Commissioners taking action on that specific agenda item. For in-person attendees, please raise your hand to be recognized, then move to the podium when directed. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record and may then proceed with asking your question. For those participating virtually, please mute your microphone or telephone to avoid any background noise that may cause interference during the meeting. The chat box feature will be active throughout the meeting. If you have a comment or question, please type your full name and address into the chat box. The staff member monitoring GoToMeeting will then unmute your microphone and you will have the opportunity to comment or ask a question. I'd like to note that the meeting packet with all meeting materials to be reviewed by the board for tonight's meeting was posted on the Township website during the afternoon of Friday, June 26th, and is available on the Township website under the Events and Agendas section. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I'll also announce that the Board of Commissioners did meet prior to this evening's Board of Commissioners meeting in executive session to discuss legal and personnel matters. Moving on to agenda item 4, courtesy of the floor. This is the first of 2 opportunities this evening for members of the public to offer comment on any non-agenda items. When I call for public comment, if you would please raise your hand, I will call on you, direct you to the podium, make sure that the microphone is on. Please list your name and your address, and then you may begin your 5 minutes. As I noted, this is the first of 2 opportunities this evening. Are there any members of the public present who wish to address the board? Yes, sir. And if we could just make sure that the microphone is on. It's on, perfect.
All right. Hi, everyone. Ryan Eunice, 2927 Orfield Road. I just have one general question and some commentary to a follow-up. So for the sake of residents who may not be fully aware of zoning language, could someone just please briefly explain what it means when a land use is permitted by right under an ordinance?
Tom, I don't know if you want to handle this, or Kent, you can handle this. Or...
Kent is well equipped to handle this question.
Excellent.
I hope I am. Ryan, correct? Yeah. So the idea of a by right permitted use is just a use that's already listed as a permitted use without any other considerations. So municipalities will create tables and graphs and definitions. And if it is permitted by that municipality, it's a by right use, by the rights of that regulation and that table and that list. So that's it. It's really that simple. So.
Okay, I appreciate the answer. The reason why I asked is because I have been surprised by how many people are aware of that list, but don't know about the existence of the ordinance. And if they do know about it, they're not entirely aware of what it stipulates. And personally, I think if there's any piece of information that the public needs to know, it is that piece of it. It's that. I think this is especially important when considering that the public cannot meaningfully engage in a process that they don't fully understand. And I think for this upcoming July 9th meeting, the Planning Commission needs to be delivered that message, because they are the ones who have been scaring people and destroying public trust, which is unfortunate to see. And something else that the public needs to clearly understand, it's that it was the former board who approved of the ordinance, which includes our president, Jacob Roth, Diane Kelly, Thomas Johns, and former commissioners Monica Hodges and Chris Peischel. the 5 of you didn't just approve of an ordinance that attempts to regulate data centers. It actually created a pathway for one to be proposed at that location. And that is a distinction that the public needs to know, because everyone right now is trying to figure out who's at fault for putting us in this position. And unfortunately, because you are the voting body, that responsibility falls back onto you guys. We, the residents, cannot be proud to be in South Whitehall when that is what our leadership has been delivering to us. I'm going to leave it at that, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus. I would just add to that, the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code requires that each municipality provide for all uses in its zoning ordinance. So the intent of the Planned Industrial Research and Technology District was to put the township in compliance with state law. Had that not been done under our old zoning ordinance, the use of a data center would have come in under a special exception use, which is a unique process that goes through the zoning hearing board. But under a special exception use, the requirements that the township would have been able to attach to a data center use would be severely limited, even less limited than or substantially less than the requirements set forth now under our current ordinance. So the intent of the PERT was to comply with state law, with the commands and the restrictions that the General Assembly has put on us. Until the General Assembly and the governor allow the township to not provide for certain uses, we are sort of hamstrung by the legislature. Are there any other members of the public who wish to comment? We'll have another opportunity to comment at the end. Are there any other members of the public who wish to? Yes, Mr. Wambold.
Hello, I'm Doug Wambold of 3301 West Congress Street here in South Whitehall. I too have one comment. I do appreciate the diligence in the comments from the latest package of drawings. I'm really encouraged to see that we're, thoroughly evaluating them, because I know there has been litigation in the valley here about so-called moving the goalposts. And I can understand why that would upset an applicant. But again, I just want to encourage everybody to make sure that everything in those drawings is 100% before we issue any sort of permits. Not that we're stuck with the bills because we didn't say it in time, sort of thing. Another topic, I was really puzzled. As part of that review, I understand that we have a Mr. Bill Greenwood of CDE Acquisitions, LLC, who is the official applicant. Is that a true statement?
Mr. Greenwood, I believe, is a representative of the applicant. He is the project manager. But the official applicant is CDE Acquisitions.
CDE Acquisitions?
Correct.
Well, that puzzles me even further, because when I searched for them online, I found absolutely nothing, which really has me curious how something this size would not have some online presence of an organization that's supporting it. I found some vague reference to incorporating, or whatever the legal term is for establishing the LLC in Georgia, but that's basically where it stopped. I couldn't even find Mr. Greenwood's name anywhere, which seemed very odd. So my question is, does the township do any vetting on the financial situation of an applicant like this?
I'll ask perhaps our township manager to comment. I would say preliminarily the township's role is really limited to our authority under the municipality's planning code, a set number of state laws, and our own ordinances, regardless of who the applicant is, whether it's structured as an LLC or an individual. Our legal obligations remain the same, but I'll ask Tom if he has any further comment.
Yeah, I can add a little bit of clarity to this for both of your comments. So it's not uncommon for developers to create LLC entities specific for each project, right? There's a developer in this area that literally uses like the same name with a different Roman numeral every time they create a new project, right? So you don't really necessarily, that's not uncommon at all. And you don't necessarily know who's attached to that LLC, like who the actual partners are. So as part of the financial vetting, we require applicants to sign a professional escrow agreement, and they have to show that they are able to establish an account and that they're a lawfully existing entity. So that's extent, there's no process in either our ordinances or the MPC by which, we have to say, do they have good faith in terms of, the amount of financials, but at this stage in the process, but they have to be able to post the escrow account, right? And they have to, assuming at some point, again, just speaking generally, not this applicant per se, but if an applicant reaches the point of having to record a plan, then they would have to post security for the public improvements. And that's our process to ensure that the entity is able to do so, either by a letter of credit or by cash or a combination of a performance bond or a letter of credit and cash. So that's our role. Our role isn't necessarily to go in and say, all right, this company has $1 billion in assets and so forth. But we have to make sure the company exists and that they can post security and or escrow and in accordance with our ordinances. And Attorney Zader, I don't know if you want to add anything to what I just stated.
I would just add one brief comment, and it's not just that it's not our rule. Unlike the federal government, unlike state government, local municipal government can only do what is authorized by the federal government or the state government to do. So looking at the financial wherewithal of a company or understanding who all the partners are in that company, it's just not something we're allowed to do. If they voluntarily give us the information, great, we run with it. But we can't just because something seems logical to do or logical to understand in connection with a proposed project, that doesn't mean we're entitled to inquire or have that information.
And I think something that may give both you and the public a little bit greater clarity when it comes to any project, and I'll use Project Atlas as an example, you have two very distinct entities. You have the applicant and then you have the township. They're entirely separate. The applicant is responsible for owning the land or purchasing the land, putting together a plan, coming up with the idea, setting forth, using the land, that in their view is a good use. The township's role is entirely separate. The project is not the township's project. We're just required to review all land development plans or issues that, similar issues that come before us. So whether it's somebody wanting to build a house or somebody wanting to build a data center, the township's role is sort of that neutral role whose job is to enforce our ordinances to the maximum extent allowed under Pennsylvania law. So that's, what the applicant, what constitutes the applicant, how they have their business structured, whether it be a partnership or an individual or another form of corporation. That's we're not allowed, to Attorney Zader's point, we're not allowed to mandate those things. So the township's role here is really to look at all land development plans neutrally, look at the facts, and then render a decision whether or not a project complies or it doesn't comply, and to act accordingly.
So I hate to ask hypotheticals, but if a project runs into trouble and it can't be finished for whatever reason, does the township have any liability for that?
It does, absolutely. So in the case of an applicant posting public security, security for public improvements to be completed, if a firm goes bankrupt, then the township commissioners has to consider whether they would pull that security and then finish those improvements for a recorded plan, because those public improvements then are required to go in. Now, there's an important nuance there is that the building itself doesn't necessarily have to go in at that point, but the public improvements do for the water and the sewer and the detention basins, anything dedicated to the township. But a building itself would not fall under those categories under the municipality's planning code.
And you'll see at the end of our agenda, oftentimes we'll have motions for security releases for particular projects.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's basically the end result of those projects. Once our engineers have certified that the public improvements are complete, we're in or out of the maintenance phase, that, those securities are released back to developers. But the fact that the township holds those funds is in case a developer goes belly up for whatever reason.
Okay. Thank you for the clarifications.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Any other public questions or comments? Yes. And if you could just provide your name and address for us.
Jane Peterson, 2730 Russell Street. Okay, so there's like this woman that lives in our neighborhood who has mental health issues, and she's constantly calling the police, like on all the neighbors, and they don't take her seriously because they know she has a problem and they're just ignoring her. She's on a list of people not to take seriously. And I thought, instead of just sweeping everything under the rug, why can't we get her help? Like, she's living in this home and it's like partially condemned. And I do believe she took all the boards off the windows and the doors, and she's going in and out. And I mean, I couldn't go into a condemned building. It's not safe, and she's in there all the time. And I just
Actually ask, ma'am, could I
she
get your,
can't, and she doesn't answer her door, so she doesn't want help. So it's like, okay, but is that just okay for her? She's getting like worse and worse. She's
ma'am, your name again? I just want to make sure.
Christine Peterson.
All right, Ms. Peterson. Lieutenant Dotter, could we have an officer perhaps come and speak with her since she's here right now?
I'm sure.
The police department's aware of the situation,
Yeah.
and we're currently working on it. The list you speak of there's no such list of people we ignore. We're taking every call we get and deal with any situation
I know
that comes.
they do come out,
Yes, it's a tough case and we're working on it.
What can she get some kind of mental health help?
All avenues are being explored.
Could we have,
So it's just the same,
could we have an officer
it's the same. They don't want
come
to.
and speak with Ms. Peterson? Would that be appropriate? Is that something you'd be interested in? We have police
Well, I
officers
don't
here.
honestly know that it's going to do any good, because we keep getting the same response that she can call on. I mean, she said my daughter was trafficking her daughter because she got in a car with someone and went to Dorney Park. Like, she makes up these stories and calls the cops. When does it stop? Like, as soon as you leave your house, she'll call and say there was suspicious activity. Come on, we got to live next to this person. She's living in there. So I don't know if she has water, electric. She has mice, raccoons go in and out. The windows are all open. It's a wreck. Like,
Ma'am, does she live alone?
she lives alone, as far as I know, alone. Somebody said she lived with somebody, but I've never seen anybody else there ever.
You know what her approximate age is?
She's like in her early 50s.
I've read several reports about what you're talking about.
I'm sure
We're
everybody
very well
knows.
aware of it and we're trying to get help the best we can.
All
We can't
right.
force people to do things they don't want to
I
do.
know that, but if she has a problem, you're just going to let her. I mean, look at the heat right now, like, she's in there,
I understand your problem here. And
Has-
again, we can't force people to do
I
things.
know you can't
That's the big
force,
issue.
but, can people check on her and go in there and just see for themselves what's going on?
Yes, we're continuing to explore all avenues.
right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Any other members of the public who wish to address the board? Yes, ma'am. Hi, if you could just provide your name and
Yes,
address.
my name is April Stackhouse.
Okay.
I'm actually at 2519 Russell Street. I'm in the same neighborhood. I figured I would come up to you and kind of speak sort of like on the zoning version of what she was speaking on, because I'm right next door to her. Like, we are connected. And like, I know she did say that the house is half condemned. It's boarded up. She's been ripping the boards off. I am truly, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart, she lives in the condemned side. We see her in and out of the windows on that side, not the doors. She goes in and out of the windows. And I see that more than I see her going in and out of the side she's supposed to be living in. So that is a concern. Also, she has this RV on her lawn. It is falling apart. It doesn't work. And it's definitely bringing mice to my house. I had to hire pest control. And he even said, yeah, that's not doing you any favors over there. So I'm concerned about that. I think another thing is with this home, we're seeing like raccoons going in and out. And she's like living in there. So that's a concern. I think what I wanted to know too is like, okay, you guys can send her some fines, you know what I mean? But if she doesn't pay them, what's going to happen with this property? Is the RV going to stay there? Is anything going to be done?
Now that you mentioned, I'm familiar with the situation.
You know which one I'm talking
familiar with the
about?
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, could we get Ms. Stackhouse's contact information, perhaps put her in touch with somebody in code enforcement to see what we can do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have spoken with Tom Harper, and he did say he would send like fines and stuff, but I'm wondering, I mean, she doesn't answer the door. She doesn't pay anything. I know she was even not paying her property taxes for a long time.
I believe
so.
Ken has a card for you.
So just call this one and, okay. All right,
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We really appreciate it. Any other members of the public who wish to comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 5 minutes. 5A, the June 17th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting minutes have been distributed to the board for their review. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt said meeting minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion.
A motion from Commissioner Fellinger-Ricker. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Gronowski. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 6, presentations. 6A, we have a Distinguished Service Award presentation to John France, our Fire Marshal and Building Code official, upon his retirement after 31 years of service. We do have a proclamation for you, John, and I will read that now. This is a Distinguished Service Award presented to John G. France. Whereas the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners, Township staff, and citizens of South Whitehall wish to formally recognize your 31 years of dedicated service from March 10th, 1995 to July 3rd, 2026. And whereas you have served with distinction as South Whitehall Township's Fire Marshal and Building Code official, providing a wonderful example and inspiration to all through your unwavering commitment. And whereas it has been an honor and a privilege to work alongside you throughout these many years, and the entire community remains deeply grateful for your impactful contributions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that it is with great pride and appreciation that the Board of Commissioners and Township staff hereby presents this expression of our collective gratitude to you, John G. France. We wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. Please know that your leadership, expertise, and presence will be greatly missed by all. Duly presented by the Board of Commissioners this first day of July, 2026 in lawful session, duly assembled. And John, I'll just add, we will truly miss you. We thank you for your many years of service. You are held in high regard by all of the members of the staff, members of the board, members of our first responder organizations and entities. We could not be more grateful for your service. We'd also like to recognize and thank your family. We know what your job entails, and it's a lot of work, but we're grateful for it. And also, recognizing your family, not just present but past, your lifelong service to this community, your father's service to this community, your grandfather's service to this community. It's a really wonderful legacy, and we're just so glad that you're a part of this community. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
Can I have about 45 minutes then to It's been something. I tried to think even 1995 who the commissioners were, and Tommy and I kind of brainstormed, and probably Dale Daubert, probably Martha Nolan, probably Steve Sayer, maybe Woody Bernhard, maybe Renee Rodriguez. There've been so many. But I guess I have to thank. Township manager was Jerry Gazda. Director of community development was Jeff Higgins. And I guess I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the 3 fire chiefs that were responsible for wanting to hire me. Bud Forsh of Citronia, Bob Habel of Greenwalds. Unfortunately, he is since deceased. That guy right there. Jeff Kemmer of Woodlawn. I'd like to thank the commissioners present and past. I'd like to thank the professional staff that I've served with over the years, present and past, to the emergency services personnel, the police department. It was kind of humbling. They had me down for coffee with the old retirees the other day, and there are only 2 badges on that whole wall that retired before I started here. So it's been great. And to the staff, both past and present, and especially to the fire departments. Fire departments for helping me along the way, for being there for me, for waking me up in the middle of the night often, but they're up in the middle of the night too. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. It's an honor to have served. Thank you.
Diane, if you have a comment.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
John, it's my privilege to recognize and celebrate you this evening as you retire after 31 years of exceptional service to our township as fire marshal and building code inspector. Throughout your career, you've demonstrated unwavering commitment, integrity, and professionalism. Anyone who has had the privilege of working alongside you knows there is one phrase that comes up time and again to describe you. You are a walking Wikipedia. Whether it's a question about a fire code, a building regulation, history behind the code, you always seem to know the answer. Your knowledge and commitment is extraordinary. I've witnessed firsthand your support of our volunteer firefighters and first responders, and I am grateful for the work that you have done supporting countless elected officials and township staff over the past 3 decades. So, John, congratulations on an incredible career and a well-earned retirement. We wish you the best.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate it again. It's been a pleasure working with you all and your support. Thank you.
Any other comments? No? Thank you, John. You will, the resolution says it, but you will truly be missed. There can't be enough times that we will say that. So thank you for your service. Moving on to agenda item 6B, we have our May 2026 financial review year-to-date report, and I'd like to ask our township manager, Tom Petrucci, to please present.
Thank you. So we're almost at the midway point of the year in accordance with our financial records. So the general fund, you're starting to see the real estate tax revenue coming in, so just over 65% of budget for the revenue. Expenses are trending where they should be across all funds. I wanted to highlight in the general fund, so you note the amusement tax. We hadn't received anything this year, or I should say admissions tax. So that has been rectified as of today. So you'll see that money flowing in the next report. So that was a clerical oversight on the part of the operator. So if there's any other questions, but yeah, I mean, everything's trending where it should be at this point in the budget cycle. I will say expenses actually are trending even lower than originally forecasted. So we are in good shape at this point, and we are progressing towards having another year in which the revenues exceed the expenditures. So any questions at this point?
Any questions from Ms. Moore? Sharon?
I just wanted to comment and say thank you, Tom, and thank you to the staff for doing such a great job with the budget and really keeping things tight. And we really appreciate it. You're doing a great job. And we appreciate that so much.
We appreciate that. And yeah, and it's a team effort, and it takes everyone to be involved to make sure we're watching all the expenses and we're staying within our line items. So appreciate that. Thank you.
If there are no other questions, so we'll move on to agenda item 7, ordinances. We do have 2 ordinances to proceed to advertisement tonight. The first, 7A, is an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of South Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 58 pension plans of the Code of the Township of South Whitehall to remove references to a specific trustee and authorize the appointment of trustees by resolution of the Board of Commissioners. And I'll ask Tom to please present.
Thank you. So in reviewing Chapter 58, which is the pension plans portion of the Township Code, it was identified that Wells Fargo Bank is still listed as the trustee of the pension plan. So Wells Fargo has not served as a trustee for the Township's pension plans for a significant period of time. So the recommendation is to amend the code to now allow the appointment of a trustee by resolution, which is more of an administrative matter. It doesn't necessarily need to be built into the ordinance as a legislative act. So the idea would be when you change a trustee in the future, you would do it by resolution. So this would amend the employee thrift savings plan, the office personnel pension plan, the police pension plan, and then the public works union employees pension plan to simply allow for that process to take place going forward. So we're not changing anything structurally to the plans. We're not changing any benefits. It's none of the funding requirements, fiduciary obligations. There's no substantive portion of this plan changing with this amendment. So I would ask for a motion to advertise it.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? Any from the public? Seeing none, is there a motion to proceed with the advertising of said ordinance regarding pension plans, the trustee appointment provisions? A motion from Commissioner Johns. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Granovsky. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 7B, we have an ordinance of the Township of South Whitehall, County of Lehigh, and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 336, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Restrictions on Size, Weight, and Type of Vehicle and Load of the Codified Ordinances of South Whitehall Township to amend Section 336-31, Truck Traffic Restricted on Certain Streets, to provide for a truck traffic prohibition on Brickyard Road, to incorporate the authority, exemptions, and penalties of 75 Pennsylvania Consolidated Statutes, Section 4902, and to provide for a repealer clause, retention of rights to enforce, severability clause, and an effective date. And again, I'll ask Tom Petrucci to please present.
Thank you. So the township has had some incidents in the recent months where wayward trucks have gone on Brickyard Road, and it's never a good outcome because really truck traffic should not be on Brickyard Road where they're trying to go. So we've asked the township engineer to conduct an analysis to restrict truck traffic on Brickyard Road. An analysis from the engineer is required in order to do that before we could entertain moving forward with any ordinance change. So the township engineer did determine that it would be appropriate to restrict truck traffic on Brickyard Road. So in order to effectuate that restriction, you would have to adopt the ordinance, which is before you tonight for consideration of advertisement. So I'd also like to highlight the fact that emergency traffic and local deliveries would not be restricted per this ordinance. Also, we are recommending that we change the ordinance to be consistent with Title 75 of the Vehicle Code, where we would mirror the statutory enforcement provisions, exemptions, and authority as set forth in the Vehicle Code. So unless there's any questions, and I know the township engineer is here tonight, if you would like more, information about the analysis that he performed. But other than that, unless there's any questions, I would seek a motion to advertise the ordinance.
Thank you, Tom. And all the information is available in our packet posted to the Township website. But I would ask Tony if you had any additional comments, general comments. If not, the documents in the packet will speak for themselves.
Exactly. I mean, it's a very thorough document, but I think that the easy way to think about it is sometimes it's site distance, sometimes it's pavement structure. This one was specific regarding turning movements. There's just not a good way to turn the trucks around. So for safety and for issues in that area, we would recommend to restrict trucks.
Thank you, Tony. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? Any from the public? Seeing none, is there a motion to proceed with the advertising of said ordinance restricting truck traffic on Brickyard Road?
I'll make a motion.
A motion from Commissioner Fellinger-Ricker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Gronowski. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Moving on to agenda item 8, resolutions. 8A, we have a resolution granting preliminary final approval to a major plan entitled St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church Solar Array. And I'll ask our Township Director of Development, Kent Baird, to please present.
Thank you. Tonight, St. Joseph the Worker Parish Charitable Trust seeks preliminary final approval for the consolidation of existing parcels and the development of a solar array. And that solar array will exist in the north parcel on the east side of Applewood Drive, and it will provide electricity just to the church side property. This is a project that has gone on for a little while because it turned into something of a collaborative effort for resolving site details and pedestrian movement along the property. So we have tonight before you a resolution to adopt to support this project and the associated waivers, all of which were reviewed by staff, consulting engineers, and the Planning Commission, especially at the March 14th meeting. And it looks like we have a representative to expand on some of the thoughts, but this is the final night to discuss this project, and it's been exciting to work with everybody on this.
Thank you, Ken. Good evening.
Good evening. Kate Curcio from Fitzpatrick Lentz and Buba here on behalf of the applicant this evening. We're here with our engineer as well as Monsignor Finelli. If there are any questions from the board prior to taking action tonight, we're here to answer those questions.
If there's no more applicant comment, I'll ask my fellow commissioners if there are any questions or comments.
I just want to, express appreciation and St. Joe the workers utilizing renewable green energy sources. I think that's something that's increasingly important in our community and our situation. And I applaud St. Joe's in sort of looking at addressing their energy needs in a manner that's responsible.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Sharon?
I second that 1,000%. Thank you.
Seeing no other comments or questions from members of the board, are there any questions or comments from members of the public? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt said resolution granting preliminary final approval to a major plan entitled St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church Solar Array? A motion from Commissioner Johns, second from Commissioner Gronowski. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Agenda item 8B, we have a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of South Whitehall Township adopting an official township seal and logo, and I'll ask our township manager, Tom Petrucci, to please present.
Thank you. So the township has utilized various logos and graphical representations over the years in its communications, its correspondence, publications, websites, vehicles, and signage. So the township has identified a need to have a strong, consistent visual identity and to strengthen public recognition of the township and its local government. So the township has developed a new official seal and logo that we feel reflects the township's history, character, and natural features. So some of the elements that have been incorporated into this logo include the covered bridge at Covered Bridge Park, Weirs Dam and the Jordan Creek, Troxel Barn, and then the Township Municipal Buildings cupola. So we've kind of combined all those into one logo, to one seal. And I'm asking the commissioners if they would consider adopting the seal so that it can be incorporated into correspondence initially. And then we would seek to budgetarily incorporate, any future signage, vehicle transitions as funds become available. So, we're not seeking to convert everything all at once. We'll do it as funding and logistics permit.
Thank you, Tom. I would just, I want to thank you, Tom, for being the main staff point person on this project. And I thank you for incorporating all of these various historic and natural landscape details. Certainly over the past few years, the township has endeavored to put its landscapes and its historic resources front and center. And by incorporating them into a modern logo that pays tribute to some of those iconic structures of our community, I think is a worthy, it's something that is worthy of the board's support. And I look forward to rolling this out over the next few years. I'll open it up to any other questions or comments from members of the board. There are none. Any questions or comments from members of the public? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt said resolution which adopts an official township seal and logo?
I'll make a motion.
A motion from Commissioner Fellinger-Ricker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Granovsky. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 9A, under correspondence and information items. This would be the boards and commissions, informational items and vacancies. And again, I'll ask Tom to please present.
Thank you. So tomorrow night, Thursday, July 2nd, 7 p.m., we have a zoning hearing board meeting. Friday, July 3rd, the offices are closed in observance of the Independence Day holiday. Monday, July 6th, the Public Safety Commission meeting is actually canceled. Just please always check the township website for any updates like that. Thursday, July 9th, 7 p.m. is a planning commission meeting at the Springhouse Middle School. Friday, July 10th is the start of our summer concert series at Covered Bridge Park, which is the large flower heads. That's at 7 p.m. Tuesday, July 14th, 6 p.m. is a Crime Watch meeting. And then Wednesday, July 15th, 7 p.m. is a Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to remind everyone the August 5th Board of Commissioners meeting is canceled.
Thank you, Tom.
Commissioner Roth, can I?
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to take a second under informational items here and just recognize the committee for America 250 under our township manager, Tom Petrucci, and our president, Commissioner Roth. I also just want to recognize all of the individuals that were a part of that, the Brandywine Fife and Drum, all of the musicians, Mr. Ed Kinter, Pastor Dr. David Charles Smith, as far as our staff, Chris Stroller and Dave Manhart, and Herb Bender was there that day, even though we had a lot of wind. So I just wanted to thank everybody because it was a really very nice, a nice program. And I received so many nice compliments from the community. And I just wanted to recognize everybody that participated and thank you all for all of our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Moving on to agenda item 10, courtesy of the floor. This is the second of two opportunities of the evening to offer any comment on any non-agenda items. Any members of the public who wishes? Yes, sir. Mr. Yunus, if you just provide your address again for the record. Thank you.
2927 Orfield Road.
Thank you.
So just to follow up on what you said before, yes, you are correct. Every municipality in the state of PA needs to have somewhere that is zoned for data centers. However, if you look at other ordinances of other townships in Lehigh County, I think Upper Macungie, Lower Macungie, Saucon, and also North Whitehall have ordinances for data centers, but they're specifically categorized as conditional uses. So I have to ask the question, why is our process here different? Because that is the implication, is that the process, the land development process for by right is different than conditional use.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
why
ask our township manager, and I can offer commentary as well. But Tom, if you'd like to sort of clarify.
Yes. So our ordinance is permitted by right, but it's an opt-in use, right? So an opt-in overlay for specific requirements, for setbacks, for buffer requirements, for noise standards, for noise studies, for screening, for lighting, for security, for community impact requirements. So for example, some of the setback requirements which any applicant would fall under that PERT ordinance would have to comply with, which is the process that we're going through now to confirm whether or not they comply. Right now, there's some outstanding items, which, last meeting you had indicated the township had a 160-page review letter, right? So that's all part of this ordinance. So, and yes, a permitted by right use is also subject to, in our case, not only all these requirements, but every other ordinance of the township. So that's important to note, right? Our stormwater ordinance, the NIPD's permit process through the state, they have to comply with all these things. They have to obtain a PennDOT highway occupancy permit. They have to ensure and demonstrate compliance with all of the township's ordinances. So just having a permitted by right use doesn't automatically grant approval. You still have to comply with the ordinances. But yeah, some of the setback requirements, 350-foot setback from existing public roads for principal structures, 150-foot setback from new public roads for principal structures, buffer requirement, they have to have a 200-foot minimum landscape buffer between the property line and principal buildings, 15-foot high earthen berm within 100 feet of the property line. Noise standards, everything that's contained within that ordinance that has then also been noted in our review letters. So, and yeah, that's the way it was structured here, and they have to comply regardless.
Perhaps a better way, to address your concern. I think Tom did an excellent job. There's traditional by right uses. You can obviously have something as a conditional use, which in reality that tends to be very, very close to traditional by right uses. We sort of took the second of two twin paths that sort of get the township to the second level, which is how do we impose sort of the maximum restrictions that we could at the time. So for example, in the industrial zone, there are a wide variety of uses permitted by right. All of those tend to carry some generic requirements, 50-foot setbacks from roads, minimal buffering requirements, things like that. In utilizing an opt-in PERT, it raises the bar well above what a traditional by right zoning would be. And because it's an opt-in, it functions sort of as a contract between the township and the developer, where we can hold them to certain standards that we would never be able to hold them to if this were another type of use. So that was sort of the thinking at the time, was data centers are an emerging use. The township has to act as quickly as possible to protect its interests and avoid going to that special exception use. Had the township not adopted that ordinance or delayed it, and if that applicant had come in under a special exception use, it would have been subject to, first of all, this board would have nothing to say about it. It would go through the zoning hearing board, and it would be subject to the standard industrial requirements that are sort of attached to the other industrial uses in that zone. So it would have been something like 50-foot setbacks with no buffering. So that was the intent at the time. It's a very complicated, exhaustive process. Land development is, it's complicated. There's a lot of nuances of state law. The land development process itself, I often say that patience is the biggest virtue when it comes to that. But that was the intent in authoring the ordinance last year to get something on the books to protect the township.
I appreciate both of your explanations. Trust me, I know the kind of position that everyone here is in. The reason why I hone on this so much is because people who live there don't really feel as though that they are being heard. This thing is quite literally across the street from my home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think speaking for all of us who live there, I've read through the ordinance 10 times. It is thorough. And also the review, it has been very thorough. I give you guys the credit and I will give you grace for that. It just, there's quite a few gaps and quite a few things where there has been oversight. And the places where there oversight is where the things that will have the most impact on those who live there. I'll just leave it at that. And thanks again for your time and the explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Unison. And we would certainly encourage you to come to any public meeting, contact us individually. Our emails are on the website about what tools we do have, even if they're maybe not evident in the ordinance, but that we can use to address a variety of concerns. When residents, as we've seen this in the past 6 months, when residents raise new concerns, it doesn't necessarily mean we can't address them, but perhaps there's a state statute or a federal statute or a federal protection that would apply. So we just encourage you to keep asking questions and be involved, and we thank you for your commitment. It's truly appreciated. Thank you. Any other members of the public who wish to comment on non-agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mary Ann Bobbin. I live at 2400 Mechanicsville Road. When they talk about noise, controlling the noise from this data center, I don't think it's at all going to be possible. Where they live, where I live, it's dead quiet at night. There's no way they can buffer the sounds. I mean, last night it was at 11:30. There was maybe one car came up Mog Chunk, one in Mechanicsville, unreal. It was just dead quiet. And living out where we are, that's why we moved out there. So please don't do this to us. These are our homes, our neighbors. Also, what happened with the bald eagles? Anything come up with that?
We reported that to the appropriate authorities. So that one's out of our hands. It's not within our.
Ms. Bobbin, when I referenced at the end of my reply to Mr. Eunice about residents bringing up concerns, something like you brought to our attention a month ago about the bald eagle, those types of things are helpful because that may trigger an additional level of local, state, or federal review. So things like that are very important. Very important.
Every morning because I can see the tree out the bedroom window, out the bathroom. I'm thinking, please show up, but with the leaves on, they won't be back till fall.
And just to note,
things like that are very helpful.
I just want to identify if it is a nest, we can't talk about that where it is publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look for one.
Okay. Yeah. But we as a township can't identify where it is publicly.
But ma'am, I would say that if you continue to have sightings of the bald eagles, document those sightings
Oh,
so that at some point, if we do see inquiries from state or federal authorities, you can provide that information to them, which I think would be helpful.
You gave us an excellent accounting last time.
yeah,
So
I have a list. I made another copy if you need another copy.
thank you, ma'am. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Any other members of the public who wish to address the board? Any online, Chris? All right. At this time, we will move on to agenda item 11. I would need a motion to authorize the payment of our invoices and disbursements for this evening. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Fellinger Richter. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Before we adjourn, I just want to wish everybody a safe, fun, happy, and healthy holiday weekend. Enjoy time outside, assuming it's not too hot. Enjoy time with your families. Enjoy your celebrations. And we hope you have a very happy 4th of July. At this time, I would seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion from Commissioner Johns. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Gwinovsky. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. This meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful night, everyone.